Alright guys, so everybody's asking about that choke that I used during the East Coast Judo Nationals. So I want to show you guys this choke that I used. It was just a clock choke variation. That's all it was. It wasn't anything real fancy. So what I did was I came off the scramble with my opponent and found myself attacking his turtle. My near side hand slipped over his shoulder and into the collar of his neck, thumb in grip. All right. The important part of this was that my elbow and arm formed a 90-degree angle. All right. So I wasn't too loose with a straight arm, and I wasn't super deep where my elbow was pointed at the ground. It was a nice 90-degree angle. My opposite hand then caught his wrist, and I had it trapped in super, super tight to his body. All right. So I was blocking his hips with his own wrist here. The way I finished that choke then was my head went to midnight. All right, it's a clock choke variation. So I think of my opponent's head as midnight, and I took my head to midnight here. I applied the pressure on that choke by taking my elbow and pulling it back into my own pocket. All right, and that opponent was actually a combination of being very tough and seasoned, and the referee being out of position and couldn't see him tapping, so I did walk the clock a little bit just to tighten it up and make the referee see that he was tapping. So again, it was just a clock choke variation. Off of the scramble, I punched into his collar with a thumb in grip, and my elbow was at a 90-degree angle, and I trapped his wrist out of the scramble as well. And you're going to see this when we show the tournament footage. So I had his wrist and a 90-degree angle in my arm. Again, when I'm performing any clock choke variation, I think of my opponent's head as midnight, and I take my head, I dive it to the floor so it hits midnight, and now I apply the pressure by putting my elbow in my pocket. If I need to then, like I did against this opponent who was just a tough dude, I had to run the clock. So I start to walk the clock, and that's when it really starts tapping. Really fast, really hard, really, really effective. All right? So watch the tournament footage, see that in play with the tournament, and then practice this variation. You'll get a lot of good use. All right, go, go, go.